So I'm here tonight. We are talking about passive and active prospecting and recruiting tonight. And I have a special guest speaker with us. His name is Coach Grayson Marshall. I've known Grayson for about 17 years now. We became fast friends when we met in our very first network marketing company. So he has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly over the years. And he's going to share some of his insight. But Grayson, everyone knows you as the coach. Will you explain to everybody a little bit about what it is that you do and why people call you the expert coach?
Tina, I appreciate this time. Obviously, we're good friends and we go back, and I want to say hello to everybody. I got the name years ago when I really started focusing on the way people think. The biggest thing I wanted to do was take people from where they thought to where they should be thinking, and not on my terms, on their own terms. So what's been uniquely different for me is I literally work with you becoming the best version of yourself. No more. I think what happens in the coaching world, and when people get this title life coach, is that they want to sell their program. They want to find a program that they can put you in. Well, here's the real reality. Everybody's different, and one size doesn't fit all. But we find coaching programs that, here, just take this $49.95, run these 5 points, and you should be good. No, because your background, expertise, life experience are completely different. So for me, what I do is I do what I call boutique coaching. And it really is you and me figuring out where you want to go. Has nothing to do with me, has everything to do with you. And what we have to do is we really have to take ownership of where we are in ourselves. It's called the BS blueprint. And the BS stands for your best self. You can be your best self when you are not listening to your own BS and you change your belief systems. That's what it comes down to. So it's a blueprint, and the blueprint has everything to do with how you were programmed before. See, if we don't understand how we got to the way we are, whether or not it's about understanding direct selling or relationship building or anything, what we've done is we've been lost for a long time, living on someone else's thoughts. And our mindset is always shaped around the best scenario in front of us. We want to follow the one with the most followers. Isn't it amazing that in this business, we want leaders, but we all look for followers? It's unbelievable. I watch the social media world, just how many followers you got, how many followers you got. No, if you want to build a business, how many leaders do you have? We're out here grabbing followers, and that's why we're not moving the way we need to move, because we're not developing leaders. Leaders are not born, they're developed. And we truly have to understand that when it comes to it. When Tina asked me to be on, she shared a few things with me, and I'm going to give it back to her in just a second. But one of the things that really hits me when it comes to this industry is people want business results, but they have it with hobby habits. You can't get a business from a hobby. And when we take this as a hobby, you're going to get hobby results, and it's going to frustrate you. At the end of the day, remember, it's about a business. If you were starting a brick and mortar business tomorrow, you wouldn't hire everybody that walked in the front door. Yet that's what we try to do in this business. We have believed some things that make no sense when it comes to true business. For example, who's heard this before? Throw mud at the wall and see what sticks. Who the ham fat wants to do that? Why would I want to do that? Throw mud at the wall and see what sticks? No. Who's heard this one before? Fake it till you make it. Let me help you. You cannot fake out your own subconscious. I don't care how hard you try. You can't do it. So we lived on some motivational ideologies that truly take away from us becoming who we need to become. I'm a firm believer that if you really understand where you want to go, which most people don't, people try to pursue their passion which someone else gave them. And I only believe this to be true because I've experienced it. Destiny is dismissed when you're in survival mode. I'm going to say that again. Your destiny is dismissed when you're in survival mode. When you're into trying to make ends meet, your destiny's gone, because your destiny is directly related to your future. Fear has everything to do with your future, not your present. You're not afraid of what's happening right now because you can handle what's going on right now. You have a fear of what might happen. So when we really look at this industry and what I do with coaching, I really get you to move to another level on your own terms, in your own way, but where you can own the entire process yourself. So that's how I got the name coach. I've worked with mid-level management, CEOs, a lot of professional athletes, former professional athletes, when it comes down to the way that they think, because the transition out of sports is challenging. Most people that come in this industry are transitioning out of corporate America to really find out how this works. And what they find is that there's a level of frustration because it's very hard to duplicate you. And that's what you're looking for. You're trying to find people like you. Let me help you. There's only about 2 to 3% of us in the entire world. So if you're going to build this business and you want to make this happen, the one thing you have to realize is that this business and any other business, I don't care whether it's Target, Walmart, or anywhere, it's customer based. You're going to have a base of customers. If you get into this business trying to find business builders, you're going to kill yourself. Let me ask you what you'd rather have. Would you rather have 10 people that you got to keep texting every week to jump on a call and get on the midweek and get on the training? Or would you rather have 1,500 customers to order from you every month? You tell me which one you'd rather have. So why are we so busy chasing people to do this business? They don't want to do this business. Hell, they don't want their job. They don't like that work. They don't want this work, because I'm going to tell you, this work takes more work. So you have to really reframe where you are and when it comes down to it. So I hope tonight we get a real opportunity to talk to you about this. I love working with people. I remember meeting Tina for the first time when I flew to Foster City, California. And we were in Montevideo together, and we weren't in the same, I'm going to use networking terms. We were cross-line from each other. I didn't even know what that meant. Here's what I knew. I knew that I had the ability to make something simple for people. I knew I had the ability to lift them to a place that they needed to go. And so Tina was really wanting to get this done. She was in a consignment shop the first time I met her. We went in, we talked, and literally I was supposed to be there one day. I think I ended up staying 2 to 3 days because we had training back to back. We weren't even supposed to do it, but the first training went so well, we just threw another one together the next night. And she has been someone that has always been hungry for information, incessantly driving to be the best that she can be, but she didn't have it right out of the gate, and nobody else did either. And so if you are looking at where you are right now, it takes time. Just like your job, you didn't know everything the first day you got your job. You took that job because the financial compensation met what you were looking for to survive. You didn't know everything the first day. So why do you expect to know everything the first month, the first 2 weeks here, the first 6 months, the first 8 months? Hell, it takes you a year to figure out people because you never had to deal with people before. And when you realize that people just don't make sense half the time, you really have to deal with yourself. So this tonight, I want to really go with you and really talk about what Tina really wants to talk about here. We're talking about passive recruiting, and we're talking about active recruiting. And literally, it's all about customer acquisition. If you remember anything like, remember customer acquisition. It will allow you to talk to everybody if you have that mindset in. If you have a mindset of customer acquisition, it will put you in a place that there's no more apprehension for you gaining a conversation platform with anybody. If you just think that way. Because I would rather have 1,500 to 2,000 people buying from me every month than worrying about text messaging somebody to get on a call or get on a training or work. I'm telling you. So if you will understand that and add that to the way that you approach people, you're sharing something that they need. And if you really understand that, it takes away anybody that tells you no. Look, you don't want to be healthy. I'm not the one to talk to you then. And we got to keep it real simple. Sometimes we get offended because they don't see what you're offering. I guarantee you, if Tina and I walk down the street right now with $10, $100 bills in our hands, and we started handing them out to people, people would resist taking them. They'd be like, why are you doing that? What's wrong? What's the catch? What's going on? Why are you giving $100? Why? They're looking for cameras. They're looking for seeing if they're on TikTok. This is what they're looking for. And you got to understand that that's the same way here. The mindset is what to catch, because it can't be this simple. You know what? It can't be simple enough that God created the best atmospheric antioxidants there are. That can't be simple enough. That's too complicated. That God created atmospheric antioxidants, that you can walk outside and just stand there and literally help your cells breathe different. But that makes no sense to anybody. And what we've done is we've taken that technology and able to harness it in a deliverable that can be delivered mucosally, bypassing the gut biome, and giving you the same effect. And that in and of itself is a healing property, and that doesn't make sense to you. Okay, good. I got to go. Once you understand that if you make this simple enough and you don't get deep with it, you'll allow yourself to move on quicker. But amateurs convince people. Professionals sort them out. Because a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. You can't change people. Some people would rather suck down capsules than get candy. Let them go. That's just where they are. Why? Because we're creatures of habit. Part of my coaching is based in my faith-based foundation. So I'm not here to offend anybody, but I believe in God. I love the Bible, and that's how I shape my life. But there's a verse of scripture in the Bible that changed me years ago. And it's the Gospel of Mark chapter 7, verse 13. And it says, the tradition of man makes the word of God of none effect. Man's tradition makes the word of God of none effect, which means that anything that we practice that becomes permanent in our lives, because practice doesn't make perfect, it makes permanent. It becomes permanent in our lives, then we stick to that. And no matter what somebody brings, it doesn't make any sense. So I had to learn that people are stuck in ways. Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to free people from slavery who want to stay stuck in slavery. They want to stay bound to sickness. That's where they want to be. Sometimes you just have to leave them there. And that's the real reality of what we're talking about. So when we're talking about passive and active recruiting, we're talking about engaging in conversation, finding a way to share the greatest information that you've ever been given to somebody who needs it. That's all. The simplest way to deliver this, to deliver wellness that I found, I've been in this game 20-something years, and I've seen it all. And there are other things that Tina and I have done together that made sense, that did work. But just like anything else, progressively, over time, it gets refined. Just like AI now is making everything so much easier. This, to me, is the AI of wellness. That's where it is for me. And this, again, if you're going to talk to people, start using language that now is becoming familiar to them, right? So if they're talking about AI, then this is the AI of wellness. Literally, it works that fast. It works that way. You can get on ChatGPT, boom, and you got a curriculum in about 8 seconds. I can give you this lozenge, and you can literally begin to change your health as long as it takes you to suck it. That's the beautiful part about it. And again, we have to begin to, before you have the tongue to learn it, you have to have the ear to learn it. What are they saying out there? And how can you take what we have and apply it to where they are? Because here's what we have to realize. Sickness is only getting worse. You realize that, right? And people need to know that you have an answer, but they won't if you don't have a conversation. It used to be when Tina and I got in this business in 2005, 2006, somebody had to see something 7 times before they made a decision. I think the new marketing statistics are 20 to 27 times they have to see something before they make a decision on it. Are you willing to share it that much? Are you adamant enough and passionate enough about what this can do for people to be able to share this all day long? Anywhere and everywhere? That's what you have to ask yourself. The active part of this is your responsibility. Because to me, it's all passive. Not everybody is Tina. Not everybody can go into a room full of 100 marketing people and be the only one they notice. Tina does that. My girlfriend Evie does that. They can walk into a room full of 100 people, and out of 100 people, they're the only one they notice. That's Tina. That's Evie. But here's what I do know. That everybody is looking for an answer, and they're just waiting for someone to deliver it. And we have an opportunity to deliver something to them that nobody else is doing. Here's the thing. This is a category creating product. Nobody else has this. And the beautiful part about it is with 13 years of vetted success, this isn't a startup. You've got everything that pertains to the best business out there. A compensation plan that stands far above anything else in the industry. Products delivered on time. Science to back it. We were doing Monavie with no science. We had a video that talked about the Amazon rainforest, and I heard it so much I could darn near recite the thing. The beauty, the majesty. I mean, it was crazy. It was in my head like that, but that's how much I heard it.
But Grayson, remember when, so, you know, people ask if this is easy, right? Is this business easy? Well, it's not easy. Is it easier than pretty much anything else? But remember back when we used to walk into a living room, and in order for people to see the video, we had to play it for them. They had no choice but to show up. You couldn't send it on YouTube. There was no YouTube. There was no streaming. There was no, hey, let me pop this in the mail for you. Like that's not what was done, right? So parties and home parties and meetings like this have changed so much because people had no choice but to come to your house, or you go to their house to share this with them. Now, how we share this is like instantaneous. We have 72 different videos on Rapid Funnel. I mean, so we've been talking to some of the leaders about the forming of our prospecting meetings, because we're talking about prospecting tonight, right? And the difference is when you shop for something on Amazon, because now everything's Amazon easy. When you shop for something on Amazon and you wanted to buy it, even if you looked at 2 or 3 options, would you then go to a 1-hour webinar that somebody was giving on those 3 options to go and purchase it, or would you just purchase it?
Purchase it.
So we're doing these webinars for prospects, and we're saying, come on to my webinar. It's an hour, or even if it's 40 minutes, come on to my webinar, and I'm going to share all about the product with you, something they could have watched in 2 or 3 videos. And that's and it's so unnecessary, and we're bogging people down with so much information, and people really don't need all the information up front to try something. When you go to buy something on Amazon, how much research? Do you put an hour to 2 hours worth of research and watching videos before you buy it? You just buy it.
Correct. And the people that do, they're not your people.
And right. And then when you love it, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then you read a review about it, and then you might look at getting another one, and then you do all the things. But we're inundating people with so much information. And when we used to do it in Monavie, they didn't have a choice. Here, there is, so network marketing has changed so much in the 17 years since we started. And Grayson will tell you how terrible I was when I started. I was not good. I asked him, I said, you can tell them the truth. He goes, how much of the truth? I said, you could tell them the truth. They know me. But you know what? When I started in this industry, I played bunco with 15 women. And how many of them do you think joined my business?
None.
None of them. Grayson's like, how many people got in business? None. I have none. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm playing the video. No one seems to want it. Right? Everybody's bad. Like Grayson said, everybody's bad in the beginning. You're going to be bad. Don't expect to be good. You're going to be bad because everybody is. And then as you practice, and Grayson was telling me the other day about his golf game, he expects the score he gets because he plays as often as he does. If he doubled the time he played, he'd be able to double the score, right?
No doubt.
Or I guess lower the score.
I was 3 under through 12 and it rained today. I was hot. I was 3 under through 12 and it rained. I was so pissed. Oh
so in golf, you want the low score, not the high score. Right. You guys know what I'm saying, right? Your score would improve ×2 if you spent more time. So if you spend more time prospecting, you're going to be more busy. You're going to have more business. You're going to.
And Tina, I want them to understand. Yeah. And prospecting isn't knocking door to door. Here's what prospecting is. Prospecting is having a conversation about where someone is and what you do. That's all prospecting is. Because if you are sitting there trying to get them into your business, that's not a prospect. That's a pressure. You're looking for a prospect, someone who needs this product. Can anybody tell me who needs this product? Everybody. So that's where you are. Everybody needs it. What you're worried about is who's not taking it. Don't worry about who's not taking it. Everybody needs it. And here's the deal. Everybody's going to need it at some point. So if they don't get it today, you keep consistent, because what you'll find in this business is that people will watch your persistence. They'll watch your consistency. And they're waiting for you to fall out. They're waiting for you to quit. So they say, see, that's why I didn't want to get in what I didn't want to do. I can see quit. The longer you stay in for your reasons, the better off you are. And they'll watch you, and I'm telling you, they come back and major regrets when it's all said and done. When you're doing this business, and I want you to wrap your head around who you are, because to me, the biggest prospect is yourself. And we're talking about prospecting other people, but you've got to make sure that you're a prospect yourself. Are you someone that they want to be connected to? Are you someone they want to have fun with? They want to spend time with? Because that's what it's about. We call it a business because we get tax advantages and we get write-offs because we're a small business, but it's really an active and collective way. That's why I call it community-based marketing. I don't call it network marketing. I call it community-based marketing, because really developing a community. And who do you want in your community? People I like, know, and trust. That's who I want. I don't want anybody else in here. And that's right. So we have to, I think, we've had so many misconceptions of this industry, and we've all put them in a place that it doesn't allow us to really vibe and thrive in it. The one thing about Montevideo, we had fun. I mean, that was what it was about. We had a good darn time. You got to ask yourself, are you having fun doing this? I took my Suburban, and my Suburban was a walking Montevideo billboard. I would literally put Montevideo in a cooler in the back of my Suburban, and if I stopped to get gas, somebody was getting some juice. That's just the way I was. Why? You ain't got no heaven and hell to put me in. Well, you don't want it, I'm going to drink it. Keep going. You got to really get to that place where it's fun. And what you have to do is stop. Do me a favor. Stop measuring other people's success if it's not yours. One of the things I used to tell leaders all the time is I said, here's the problem. You're trying to get people to do more than what they're capable of doing. I didn't say they had the potential of doing, more than they're capable of doing. People have stuff going on. So here's what I've learned. If Lori wants to do 30%, I'm going to encourage Lori to do the best 30% she can do. If I try to push Lori to 60, I get a bad 45. I'd rather get an all-in 30. And if Mary wants to do 60, good. I'm going to get you to do 60, because I'd rather have 60 for 10 years than a frustrated 75 that quits in 2. And let the 100 do 100 and work with them accordingly. But here's what you tell them. 30s make this much. 60s make this much. And 100 make this much. Don't want 100 money if you only want to do 30. That's all. And let them do 30. Give me 100 people that want to do 30% for the next 10 years. I'm good. We have to let people be where they are. You can't drag people to where you are or where you want them to be. Here's the other side of it, is that people who come from 9 to 5s who weren't the boss think this business is their chance to be the boss. I've been in this game before. They think that they're ready to manage everybody. No. It's their business. How can I help you get to where you want to get to your business? Because if Joanne needs $500 a month and Tina needs $10,000, we're not the same people. So I'm not going to have the same conversation with you. I'm not going to have the same expectations, the anticipations. I'm not going to do that. So that's why I said we have so many people chasing after followers. I want leaders. I want people that can see, feel, and touch the success potential of everybody they run into, no matter where it is. So for me, prospecting, when Tina said this to me, and she talked about active and passive, the one thing about prospecting I wanted to make sure, are you continually making sure you're a prospect? Because people will attract who they are, not what they want. So if you're a prospect that's on your product, if you're a prospect that's studying, you're going to attract those people. If you're not, make them your customer and keep it moving. But the energy for you, again, that can't be, I'm not Tina. I'm not my girlfriend. I'm not Evie. They just bubbling energy. I'm not that person. You got to be the best you, but there's a bunch of people who have your personality that need some candy to fix their nutrition. That's what they need. So find those people. And this is the beautiful part about it. It is an amazing time to be here. And I look at it every day. Every time I drive around Jacksonville, and on every corner, I see a new hospital going up, or a new acute care center, or a new emergency room. And I'm like, let me tell you something. If they're building all these, it's because they know people are going to be sick and they're getting sicker. If you're looking around and seeing that, that's where it is. So begin to appeal to the real person that's here. Begin to talk to them. Does your health matter to you? That's my question. Does your health matter to you? Now, I find it easier when you become a walking billboard of what you're doing. I find that easier. And I'm not saying you need to be a swimsuit model. What I'm saying is you need to be consistent. They need to see you eating your candy every day at work. Don't take them at home, take them at work. And pop them in while you work. What you doing? Man, I'm getting healthy. I'm just eating this candy. That's all I'm doing. And don't say nothing else. They need to see the activity that's required. You mean that's all you do? You know, I told you last week my blood pressure was up. My blood pressure's down with this little candy right here. I take it. Y'all getting on my nerves at work. I need this happy right now. Y'all getting on my nerves at work right now. I just need to take this happy right now. What does that do? It keeps me sober with y'all because y'all crazy. When you get to where you embrace this as fun, people want to see that part of it, and it'll take away the pressure of business. So prospecting now becomes attraction, because now you're not having to ask them, they're asking you. But if you walking around frustrated, mad, I don't like what's going on, I'm not moving fast enough, why would they want to get in business with you? They wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't. Now I got to carry your heavy toxicity too? No, I'm good. I'm all right. I ain't enough happy for that. Y'all can understanding where we are. So become the best prospects, and you begin to attract the best prospect. I lost a $120,000 contract. I called Tina and told her. I was working on something and lost a $120,000 contract. So the first thing I did was jump back in my car and start Uber again. And literally, if you go in my car right now, I got samples in my car. I got the book in my car. I got all this stuff in my car. And when anybody gets in my car, after we start having a conversation, first they say, well, what else do you do? Because I know you don't do this full time. No, I don't. You know what? I have a nutraceutical company. It's absolutely amazing. It's crazy. We've come up with nutritional candy. I know it sounds crazy. What's nutritional candy? Thank you for asking. And that's how the conversation starts. No more, no less. Anywhere I go. Because I'm a prospect. My health means something to me. And you got to make sure that it means something to you. Don't get in this business and try to fool somebody to get them in here to make money because we got a hell of a comp plan. If you're sincere about people and love people, because that's the only way you're going to build this business, is you care and concern and love people. If you love people, that's going to show. And you didn't get rich on your job in 20 years, but you want to try to get rich here in 20 days. Something wrong with y'all. I didn't tell you to take that job and be frustrated for 20 years. And then you want to run over here and tell me, I'm getting free. Y'all better do this in 6 months. No. Because there's a new element of importance here. There's things I have to do differently here. Consistency is based on my own internal clock. See, most of us aren't tapped in our internal clock because we tapped into the external clock, that 9 to 5 clock. See, the internal clock is the one you have to connect to. That's not easy to touch because the internal clock is in survival mode, and destiny is dismissed when you're in survival mode. So you're trying to chase your destiny with the clock not connected. I got to connect to the clock, and then I have to find consistency there so that I can do this at a sense of peace and a level of positioning that lets me know I'm not anxious. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things in prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving in your heart, make your requests known unto God, and he'll give you a peace that will surpass all understanding. I don't worry about anything. All I want is opportunities. And all you can do is make the most of them. Everybody's not your customer. Everybody's not your client. But the ones that are for you. But they're not coming to your door if you're not becoming a prospect. So if you just change a few little things, start taking your candy at work or in front of people. Let them know what you're doing. Woo, time for me to mess with my blood pressure. I'm good now. Yeah. I got to do something with this sugar. What is that you put in your mouth for your sugar? If you will do that, you don't have to bring them in. They will ask you, what is that you doing? That's all you do? Yep, man, and it's affordable too. Getting in that space. I love working with people's mindsets on approaches and different things. And here's the reality. Tina has spent a ton of money being coached by the likes of Eric Worre and some more guys around the world. Why? Because she knew the investment in her business. You're going to have to, if you're going to move to another level, if you've never been there, you got to find somebody that can get you there. And let me tell you something, it's not always the biggest producer. As a former pro athlete, as a former college All-American, Hall of Famer, and an ACC legend, here's what I do know. My coach was never better than me in basketball, but he coached me. You don't have, and see, what we do is we chase the big check people. No, 9 out of 10, the big check people can't teach you to do anything. See, I wouldn't take golf from Tiger Woods because the level to get to is too high. That's why Tiger Woods can't coach anybody. Michael Jordan can't coach anybody. The greats are great. Why? Because what they're asking is way too much. That's not duplicatable. You can't do that. But Phil Jackson, who was an average NBA player, became one of the greatest coaches of all time. Greg Popovich, who coached the San Antonio Spurs for years, was never a player. But he's a great coach. Gino Auriemma at UConn, never a great player, but a great coach. Because coaches have a different approach. Coaches are there to develop leaders, and that's what I've done for years, develop leaders. People who needed a new mindset, a level of accountability. And this is what you're going to need to build this business. You wouldn't be on here tonight if building this business wasn't something you desire. So you can ask yourself, what are you worth in an investment to move yourself into this next level that you want to go to? And here's what I tell people. If you want to change your life right now, there's 2 things you need to do as it relates to this business in your life. Number 1 is have no emotional attachment to any outcome. And number 2 is have no time frames for things to happen. No emotional attachment to any outcome and no time frames for things to happen. When you get emotionally attached to outcomes, that means that everything else around you controls how you make your next move. I didn't say you can't have feelings. I said don't become emotionally attached to outcomes because you can't control the outcome. You can only control your participation in it. I can be the greatest salesman in the world. I come knock on Tina and Kelly's door. And if I got the best thing in the world, they got no money, there's no sale. I gave them it had nothing to do with me. They couldn't do it. No emotional time, and then no time frames. Think about this. How many times has anything worked on your time frame in your life? So why do you keep putting time frames on stuff? It's frustrating. And I say this again. These words, I've looked at them, they bother me. And people have set their lives around words like goals, right? I'm not saying don't set them, but I'm going to tell you something. The word goal ain't in the Bible nowhere. It's not in there. God said he'll give you the desires of your heart. The desires. What is your true desire? To help people. He'll give you that. But see, here's what happens. When you set a goal, the first thing you do is give it a what? A time frame. First thing you do. And here's what happened. The minute you give it a time frame, you just became anxious, worried, frustrated, and scared. I don't know how all of that is positive. I just don't know. It's almost like working counterproductively. Y'all laughing because I'm telling the truth. That's just reality. You put a time frame on it and you're like, oh my God, I got to do it by Friday. Whoa, what happened? What happened to relax? Go take one. That's what we need to do. When we put a time frame on something, everybody just need to take a relax right after that. Telling you that would be so more relaxed that way. But I think this is the mindset we have. If you really look at yourself and say, you know, y'all are laughing because y'all look at it, y'all know y'all do this stuff. I'm just a real practical kind of person when it comes to it. And I remember telling Tina, I said, sweetie, what do you do well? She said, well, I just like talking to people. I said, then you're going to make a lot of money. Because that's all she does all day long. Talk to people. She didn't know what was going on. She didn't know that Montevideo had pomegranate, passion fruit, bilberry, wolfberry, blueberry, kiwi, cranberry, apricot, prune, apple, aronia, pear, acerola, banana, and dark and white pigment grapes. She didn't know that stuff. I did. She didn't know all that. She just knew she had some juice. It was helping people. Here, drink this. That's all. Literally, that was the way it worked. And then all the rest of that stuff came later because we didn't have white papers. we didn't have that. We didn't have FDA registered. None of that was there. We didn't have doctors literally doing videos for us. We didn't have that. Chiropractors doing videos for us. We didn't have all that. And yet the company went from nothing to 4 billion in about 3 years. This company provides you with all of that and then some. A way to share information that's non-intrusive in a platform that they're used to getting because they're opting in for text messages from everybody. What you've got to do is make sure that you remain a prospect personally and you share and you follow up. The fortunes in the follow-up. You all have heard that before, and that's the fortunes in the follow-up. Not in pestering. The fortunes in the follow-up. And the greater your personal prospecting testimony is for yourself, the greater attraction that you have. Unfortunately, we look for leaders, but people just want to be followers. They want to do what everybody else is doing. We have to let them know that what we're doing stands far above and different from everybody else. So as you reset your week, as you begin to do what it is you need to do, number one, don't beat yourself up for where you're not. Stop doing that. What you got to do is, am I better today than I was yesterday? If you did this, everybody on this call, if you talk to one person every day for a year, that means that you would have talked to 365 people. If you have an average closing ratio of 20%, that's 72 people in your business. 10%, you got 36 new people in your business. I'm telling you, to build this the way that it needs to be built, you need about 5 to 10 good people. So if you spent 1 year talking to one, now if you got crazy and talked to 2, now I don't know what could happen. That's out of my hands at that point. But if you talk to 1 a day, 365 people a year, I'm telling you at the end of the year what it would look like. Just commit to that. Don't worry about who gets in. Don't worry about it. Just talk to them and follow up with those 365 people. In 3 years, you will never have to work again.
And Grayson, I want to wrap that back around to where we started, which was active and passive prospecting. You know, active prospecting, meaning you pick up your phone, you make a call, you text somebody, you're very intentional about it. Passive, meaning you're at the grocery store in the aisle where the supplements are and you see somebody staring at the big wall full of crap, trying to figure out what they need. And you say, hey, listen, I might have something you might be interested in. It's a little bit better than all this you're looking at, right? It's the unexpected. But I think what keeps people from doing the unexpected prospecting is they're not prepared. How often do you go and look up the scripts? Just so you have something at the top of your head to say. How often do you read objections? If they say this, I say this. How often, what does your purse look like? Do you have candy in it? Do you have your business cards? Do you have brochures? Do you have a sample pack? I got to give props to Tina D and Julia. on this one, because when we were in Colombia, we got stuck at the airport in Cartagena, which is like the size of my closet. It's this teeny tiny little room that was half flooded. And we got stuck there for like 7 hours. And not even 15 minutes went by, and both Julia and Tina D had their samples out in their hands and were walking around the airport talking to everybody. Are you going to do that? Are you willing to do that? Are products so impactful to you that your spirit is moved to go talk to people in a flooded airport on the spur of a moment? And are you prepared for that? Because the unintentional, passive prospecting will sometimes get you the greatest gain and the greatest people. Because the people in your phone, like your mom and your cousin, they don't want your product and they don't want to be in your business.
But they want your money.
That's right. That's
they want your money.
So be prepared, being prepared for those passive, and I say passive, and I consider passive putting something on Facebook. Yes, you're intentionally putting something on Facebook, but there's no guarantee somebody's going to respond and have a conversation with you about that. That's passive. There's a lot of people that do passive prospecting like that. That's not the same thing. Active prospecting daily, what Grayson's talking about, is intentionally picking up the phone and talking to somebody about this for some, right? Branding. Do you know why people don't brand themselves? Because they're afraid they're going to fail. And then somebody's going to say, how's that DNA candy thing going? And you're going to have to say, I didn't do the work, so it didn't work for me.
Well, no, that's not what you're going to say, Tina. That's not what you say. You come up with something else. You definitely don't tell the truth. No, you're not going to do that. That makes no sense. See, here's the thing, as I told you, the reality of it is that you have to become your own boss in business, and most of us have been trained to be employees. That's why I said the learning curve has to change. The requirements here have to change. Your 9 to 5 right now is somebody else's passive income. You got to go create your passive income after you've done theirs. See, that should be your motivation. I'm here creating passive income for you. When I get out of here, I need to create my own passive income, right? So there's got to be a commitment to your passive income. But we are an outcome-driven society, and everything is based on outcomes. So if the outcomes aren't favorable, we don't want to do it. If the outcomes aren't favorable, we shy away from it. Stop focusing on the outcomes. Just focus on what you need to do. Leave the outcomes alone. But again, it's retraining the brain. It's rewiring where you are. And all these people, Tina and I both, we've said NLP, you name it. I've heard it all, seen it all. And what I really come back to is that all of those things keep you away from being truly accountable, because you blame NLP for not working. You blame something else for not working. At the end of the day, people are still people. Now, I know we got 74 genders now, which is not right, but I'm telling you, people are still people. I don't care if they got 17 alphabets. They're still people, and they still have problems. And see, and here's what I said too, guys. With all that going on, here's what I do believe. I don't care if that's them. Every one of them has high blood pressure too. Every one of them has MS. Every one of them has something. So get away from the stereotype. The bottom line is everybody walking here is suffering from one disease and one disease only, and that's cellular energy deficiency. That's the root cause of every disease, cellular energy deficiency. You have a product that addresses the cell. That's the beautiful part about it. I liken it to a cell phone, and I talk to people about this when I talk to their bodies. Your phone is like your body. I charge this at night so that I can use it the next day, right? But when I wake up in the morning, there's a bunch of apps running. What happens when the apps are running? The battery begins to die, right? Now, I can close the apps to save the battery, true? To get more battery life. Your body, when you wake up, it's got a bunch of apps running. Here's the problem. I can't turn any of those apps off. So if I don't get a full night's sleep, or my body's getting full nutrition, or I'm not, this battery's only running in safe mode. Most people's bodies are running in safe mode. Why? Because 75% of them have a gut issue. They're not even getting the nutrient, even if they're eating healthy. So what we have to understand is if I'm going to affect the cell, I've got to be able to charge it all day long. So the sun and atmospheric antioxidants will do that. It pours in electrons. That's what our candy does. It brings respiration to the cell. So now we have a way for your cells to breathe because you're not outside. So if they were outside getting negative ionization from the plants, the waters, the trees, and the sun, it'd be wonderful. Most people work where? Inside. Lack of oxygen. So again, if you bring this to a practical place that makes sense, people understand that, I've got an answer for you. Now, I'd love you to be my customer. If you'd like to make some money referring people, I can show you how to do that too. And you keep it that simple. No more, no less. Somebody typed in the chat, best training. You know what? I consider that an honor to be able to for someone to say that. I love what I do for people. I love being here to bring some new light to it. And there's nothing new under the sun, but delivery, mindset, and actually understanding makes sense. We have to commit, as Tina said, to doing some active stuff. Thank you, Julie. Clarity. And I think that's where people are missing. We don't have clarity. And this is why I've been able to help so many people, because I help you get clarity and keep it simple. Literally, I joked about this, but when I had Monta V, I would run around looking for people that were limping or had back problems. I would do that. I'd look for them. I was looking for them. Seriously, man, something wrong with your back? Look, hold on, I'll be right back. I mean, literally, that's how I took it. I literally took it that way. And I'm excited about this because from the cradle to the grave, you can help people. I have an answer. And you got to start believing that your answer is that. Again, not everybody's going to do it. But you got to start believing that everybody you talk to is one step closer to you improving you being a prospect. But the level of accountability has got to be elevated personally. And as Tina said, are you willing to do those things? And if you're not, you're going to get the 30% pay. That's all. If you want to do a little bit more, you get 60. If you want to get more, do 100.
Well, and you know what's interesting you say about that is I look at all the people on this call, and a lot of them are making money. Mm-hmm. But guess what? All the people not on this call, not really making much. Why is that? Because they don't show up. They don't show up. What if it's just one thing that Grayson said that will change your business forever and you missed it? Right? You got to show up for your business. You can't, you know, and there's thousands of people on this team. And yet 52 of you said, I'm going to make it happen. And I'm here. And you're here. And you might have missed something. You might have missed a dinner, a birthday, but you're here. That's
but Tina, here's the problem. They don't see it as a business. They see it as a hobby. That's the reality. They see it as a hobby. And they can, with their hobby, I can do it when I feel like it. And that's what they do with this business. I can do it when they feel like it. And that's why I try to get people away from a business and being customer driven. Because going to get a customer, yeah, you can get a customer when you want to. I want to keep people from in mindset feeling like business is overwhelming. And that's what, when Tina, when people talk about business, they usually feel like God is so overwhelming and daunting. Fine, go get a customer. Just go get a customer. Stop. Again, we're putting pressure on ourselves to do something. I don't think Tina and Kelly are mad if everybody on here went out and got 100 customers in the next year. They wouldn't be mad. If none of y'all built another business and went and got 100 customers, they wouldn't be mad. Just go get a customer. And if you'll start simplifying it, if you really get to where you really understand that this is something that they need for their body, not our product, they need this. Our kids used to play outside. I used to play outside. Where do our kids play now? In front of, come on now, literally, it's all set up for us. Fine, you don't want to go outside, eat this candy. Because I'm not taking you to get no insulin. I'm not doing that. So eat this. There's a way to really share this to where we can take what's going on in the world, and it literally is setting up in our favor. They're actually serving up the best opportunity in the world to us. The way they are moving us in life, the way they're doing things to the food, the way the issues of the body seem to be progressively getting worse, you have an answer. And whether they understand what via mucosa means, I understand this. If you suck on this candy, it'll help lower your blood sugar. Do you want lower blood sugar? If not, keep eating that. Because reality is hitting in for so many people when it comes down to it. And the scare that's being introduced to the entire world is real to a lot of people. And you got to ask them, what do they really want? So I'm good, Tina. I know I've gone over. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do
No,
that.
it is all great. That was excellent. So glad you could join us today. Lessons tonight was, if you don't love people, it's going to be a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't love sharing our products with people, it's going to be a challenge. But if you can love on people, care about people, and share our products with them, the business will build itself.
Mm-hmm.
The rest will come, right? They don't need to come on a live webinar. They don't need to look at 47 things. They need to say, like Grayson said, you're either interested in being healthy or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a product I have that can help you do that. When people go to the GNC, they don't expect the sales guy behind the counter to talk to them for 2.5 hours about one pill. They don't expect that. They look at it, they get the basics, and they purchase it. And that's what we need to start doing here. The business is a different thing. We have our Tuesday night webinars. If you're uncomfortable, unconfident, not sure what to say about the business, say, that's okay. Come on this Zoom with my business partners. When they hear the stories about you guys that are being successful, they're going to relate to that. They do it, they don't do it, don't be attached to the outcome. It's going to happen. The right people at the right time will always be interested if you just open your mouth and continuously talking and prospecting. So thank you so much, Grayson. We are going to